it's very, very hard to be like, I was wrong.
Right.
I can't barely
Why
get that out.
is that so hard?
I could almost choked up just saying it. Like, it's me wrong. Like, no, it doesn't matter. But for me, like, that is a very difficult thing. And
what about us does that? I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
What's the switch?
I'm still in a position. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Deep MCs, the podcast that seeks to push meaningful conversation to a whole new level. Whether it's for your entertainment or your personal growth, we appreciate you being here today. And now, on to the show. What's going on, man? What's going on?
Shep, what's good?
Oh, it's another wonderful, wonderful day here. Another episode in the books. I don't know how many it is, but I feel like we're coming up on half a year.
Man, we're doing well, man. I mean, we kicked this thing off and
it's still
we're chugging along, buddy.
Chugging along, man. What are we gonna get into today?
So today, man, I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there I think that we can talk about in this subject, and it's from an area of personal responsibility.
Yeah, I'm already.
I know.
I'm already fired up.
Already fired up.
Talking about personal responsibility, personal responsibility, but also at the same time, I like to just say, at what point are you going to just be responsible and accept your own shit?
You saw it. It started getting staccato. That's when he's. When are you going to? That is when. Right, that's my version of the clap.
Yeah, man. When are you going to accept your own shit? Yeah, man, personal responsibility. Like, for whatever reason, I feel that we are most definitely in a time where people are. It's never their fault.
Yeah, right.
It's always somebody else's fault.
Shifting the blame.
It's always, I didn't do it. Oh, so-and-so. Oh, this or that. Or, oh, if this wasn't like, man, I'm not perfect by any stretch of the means at all. And I'm not here to say, hey, listen to what I have to say or whatever. That's not the purpose of this. Like, and there's things that I still need to take responsibility for sure. Yeah. But when it comes to a grander scale of things, I feel like I will admit my fuck ups, I will accept my wrongs, and I will take any responsibility for my actions in those. And this is so sad to see how many people just run from that. And and they're people that are even in better circumstances or more well off or in a better place, or people that are really in a position of actual power.
Yeah, power and influence, right?
Yeah, power and influence. Yeah. And what is that saying to everybody around you? What is that saying to what lessons are you really teaching? What values are you paying forward when here you are, somebody that people look up to, or people respect or people admire, and you are just the victim.
Yeah, man, we've built a culture, I think, of denial, right?
Oh,
it's just,
right. Yes.
The culture has become one of denial, that no, it's not my fault. No, I didn't have anything to do with it. Yeah, it's all on you, and you have to fix it, right?
Yes.
And we don't play a part or recognize what part we play in the overall outcome.
Exactly.
And that denial, I think it's a cancer, man.
I feel like it's gonna give me cancer. That's just something that just irks me to the core, and I question. I don't know. I always say all the time, man, I'm not the smartest person. I don't feel like I'm the most self-aware all the time when things come around me, but I question some of these people's actions and their intents when it comes comes to whatever the situation is. And I'm like, dude, like if I can see,
right,
like how can you not? Like this is happening to you. Like how can you not? And I mean, I get to, right? Like I can't say that everybody's on the same mind, and it's right. It's kind of like a Monday morning quarterback, right? When you're outside of it, sometimes it's easier to
it's easy to go back and watch the play.
Yeah,
you know,
to
watch the replay film.
And, but at the same time, when it's consistent, or you're consistently doing things, like it's how. At what point do you just say, "Hey, I don't know"? And I guess people are probably like, what the hell are they talking about?
Where did this come from?
Where did
right?
Yeah.
So we're definitely digging into this debacle that has happened here in Houston, the Astroworld concert, right? With Travis Scott, right?
Oh yeah.
So
yes.
You know, that's where this one stemmed from. Like we had a list of things we were gonna talk about, but this one became like
this is the hot button.
Yeah.
And this is actually, it's also interesting too that how it is being reported, right? And and the thing about it is, for people that don't know, for all the listeners out there, our Frankfurt, Germany's, our South Africa's, all those people, right? Our Europeans and everything. But even here in America, people are not getting. Actually, they're not getting the full story of everything that's going on. Like, I mean, obviously, because we're here in Houston, so, and he's from Houston, and the concert was in Houston. We got a lot more in-depth detail of what's going on. But for those that don't know, quick overview, and you guys can look it up, whatever. First of all, if you don't know Travis Scott or who he is, I mean, a rapper or a rocker, depending on what you call him nowadays, whatever you relate to, extremely popular.
He's an artist.
He's an artist, had his own McDonald's. I question that. What is art nowadays anyway? That's a whole nother topic.
That's not the podcast. Come on.
But let's stay focused.
Because we can derail.
Yes, we can
very
get
quickly onto that.
Way off. But you know, he's an artist. He's from Houston, extremely popular. Dating one of the Jenners, Kylie, I think, getting ready to have a second kid with her. So you guys can know, once you get with a Jenner or Kardashian, you go crazy. Anyway, that's a whole nother episode. But yeah, super popular. Had a concert here in Houston. Some things went awry
very quickly,
and a lot of lives were lost. A lot of lives were lost for a concert.
I believe 8 people confirmed now. One young boy, 9-year-old, is in a coma.
Ridiculous.
And then hundreds more were injured.
Ridiculous. And I'm sorry, like, I'm not a Travis fan. I'm just not personally of his music, but nobody's music, let's be clear right now, nobody's
music
is worth,
absolutely nobody's music
is worth somebody's life. Let alone and what's interesting, and I guess this comes, I mean, this is a little off topic, but over the course of my time, I've been to a few concerts. I'm not a concert connoisseur, but I prefer to go to nice concerts. You know, excuse me. I've experienced some good hip hop concerts, you know, with Dr. Dre and Eminem and all that other stuff, and you know, went to a Ludacris concert one time, and I've even gone to, believe it or not, here we go, I've gone to a Metallica concert.
Okay.
Right? Now a lot of people like, you listen to them. But yeah, back when they were actually really, really on top of the world, not that they're not now. And there was even mosh pits and everything there. But even in the mosh pits, there was still a level of respect, you know, that was
a level of understanding, right?
Yeah, like we weren't trampling people with a band, a band, whatever. And I just don't get it. So when this happened, you know, the fact that nothing changed, the fact that nothing was different, the fact that there is still, and again, I wasn't at the concert. I wouldn't want to be, because to me his music is trash anyway. Probably gonna get in trouble for that, but I don't care. But when you're up there and you're on that big stage, like, you can, I don't care what you say, you can see what is going on,
what's happening in front of you.
And that's a level, for that instance, that's a level of personal responsibility. Because right now, you know, there's the arguments where some people are saying that he was aware of what was going on.
Yeah.
And then some people are saying there was a point in time where he even called out and said some guy needs help.
Right.
Right. And do we know that this is, I mean, we're just going off of what's being said. This is speculation at this point, right?
Hearsay.
Not that I don't believe some of it, but regardless of whatever you say, when you're that high up there and you look out into that crowd, you can see when shit's getting out of control. Now, it's been documented that Travis Scott has a person that's encouraged people to rush stages. He's encouraged people to push past security before. All sorts of things that he's done. So and he's had lawsuits brought up against him before for similar situations, and been in situations like that. And the thing is it looks kind of damning when you have this past and then you have this instance that happens, but now that someone has lost, lots of people have lost their lives.
Lots of lives have been completely affected long term.
Exactly. That now it's, oh well, I had no idea, or oh well, whatever. And that to me just pisses me off, you know, and it just sucks that, again, someone of such high power and such high influence is pretty freaking hands off when it comes to dealing with this situation.
Yeah, man. I'm not a fan, you know, and so I'm more, you know, my co-host here has a personal response to his music. I didn't know if he was a country singer or what, to be honest.
Trash. Trash as well.
So I jumped in when I started seeing, you know, kind of all of the information that was going on and everything else that was happening. Then I started paying attention, right? But what I was telling you earlier, you know, is like when you're a kid and you blow up the balloon and you hit it up, right? And it's a bunch of you guys in the room and it can't hit the floor. You're just hitting it up, right? Boom, boom, boom. And you're just hitting it across the room. And that's what's happening right here, man. Because, yeah, he has a personal responsibility, but then you jump it over to the other person, and they're just hitting the balloon back and forth. It seems like nobody is really... So, yes, okay, tickets were refunded. You know, funerals are going to be paid for. You know, those kind of things are being taken care of, right? But at the end of the day, the personal responsibility of fire marshal, police, people who are at the freaking concert, right? Travis Scott, the promoters, everybody who's engaged is like, nope, not me.
No. Because nobody wants to come off the check.
Who's going to take the brunt of that, right?
Nobody wants to come off the check. And that
really is the check.
It is what it is.
It's
that's
really
all. When it all boils down to it, that's all that it is at the end of the day. And that's what makes me more mad than anything, is because it is all about the check, you know. And it pisses me off that, like, it really fucking pisses me off that they're doing, like, what they're doing is they're covering their own ass.
Yeah,
and
everybody.
Like, everybody is.
Right.
And yeah, sure, like, absolutely right. Like, the tickets were being refunded, but you already know that's going to be a shit show. I mean, if anybody knows, how many times have you purchased something online and then when you go get a refund,
get your money back.
How long does that take to get your damn money back?
Right.
You know, and then they're going to charge you a restocking fee or some bullshit. But neither here nor there. Like, but yeah, that's going to happen and that's going to hurt. But you know what's not going to get refunded? All them damn merchandise sales, all the food that was purchased. Yeah. There's still going to be some money that's being made, right? Just your profit margin is going to be smaller, but nobody's talking about that. But whatever. You're going to pay for some funerals, and for normal people like us, who have had to deal with stuff like that, funerals can be expensive.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
But for 8 people or 9 people, 10 people, however many people come from this, we find out, whatever. The cost of, let's say, 8 funerals for someone like that is nothing.
Right.
He's not, he has a wristwatch that costs probably 2-3 times the cost of those funerals, right?
Funerals,
so,
$10,000. Let's say give you a $10,000, you spend $80,000
$80,000
on funerals.
He's wearing $250,000 wristwatches.
Right. The stage setup was more than that.
He don't care.
Yeah.
Like, that's nothing in the grand scheme of things. And it doesn't matter what you pay. Like, yeah, you pay to put someone in the ground, but you also took someone's little child away. You also took someone's wife away, girlfriend away, husband away, whatever the case is. Like, you can't, there's no cost.
So yeah, we have there's no cost to that, right? And I'm, this, I want to know what in your mind causes you to rush a stage for a person? For what is it with children? And the one father had his son up on his shoulders, right? What causes you to want to interact with that person in such a way that you just begin to rush?
You just rush
and run and trample, and it doesn't stop, right?
I don't know.
What kind of adrenaline is that?
It's just, I get chaos. I've been in chaotic situations in the past, and I've been in some shitty situations, and I get like some of that fight or flight kicks in. I do get that, and that does play into,
it creates a panic,
right? It creates a panic, right? When you see a sea of sharks coming to you, right? You're gonna go whatever direction
you can get away from.
Yeah, for sure. And I understand that to a certain point, but at the same time, like, the initial fact that people were going, and in my mind, like, it blows my mind, because I don't like Travis Scott, so there's nothing. Like, I wouldn't get off my couch for Travis Scott, let alone pay all that damn money to go down there. But the thing is that, and then what question, right? You guys rush this stage, and then what?
What's going to be the end goal?
You're going to carry him away on your shoulders like he's a hero? Like, I
what's
don't
the
know.
end goal?
I don't get it. And that's the thing. Like, it doesn't make sense. There is no sense behind it. And I don't think people even thought that far ahead,
Yeah,
but that's like the power of celebrity. And that's what I don't know, maybe because I honestly don't know, right? And because, like, I've met over the course of my time, like, working in Hawaii and living there, I've met countless celebrities,
right? Of course.
I've met people that I've admired. I've met people that I've watched on TV for so long, and now they're here in the flesh. And me, I've never once been like, can I have an autograph? Can I do this? Because I'm not
that starstruck person either.
Yeah, like, it just, they're people. Like, it's cool. Like,
if anything, I want to sit down with you and have a conversation about what you did to get where you were, just so I can glean something from this conversation.
I don't know. Like, I just don't. And I think a lot of it, though, too, comes down to, and I hate to say this because I live here, but Houston, I feel like we put a lot here in Houston. We put a lot of weight in our celebrities.
Okay.
We put a ton of weight in our celebrities, as, like,
they're on the pedestal.
Yeah, like,
high on the pedestal.
If they've done it, like, if they do it, or they've done it, or they've made it big, like, you just are all in for them. And maybe it's a Texas thing. Texas is a very proud state.
Yeah, of course.
And we love our Texas bigger stuff. And but for whatever in Houston, your Beyonce's, your Travis Scott's, your Houston Astros, your whatever. Like, we have this just ridiculous all in fanatical love for these people, and we kind of do it to ourselves to a certain extent, you know. And you look at some of these people, you look at some of these celebrities that have made it, and granted, like I don't know them personally either, so I can't speak about whatever, but I do know what I do see, because for whatever reason celebrities like to make it known what they do or what they don't do, you know. But they haven't done anything extremely significant to justify what they're getting. And for me, the whole purpose of celebrity and taking responsibility is if you're Travis Scott, which he came from generally nothing, and I respect the come up, right? You have your Beyoncés that came from, not in the best areas or times or whatever, and you made some, and I respect that, and that's awesome, and that's great, and that's whatever. But then it gets to a point where now you're worth these hundreds of millions, $500 million, $1 billion, like all of this stuff, which was generated by some form of talent that you have or had, or whatever the situation may be. But that talent only goes so far without the fan. And
so okay, so I the direction you're going, and I'm seeing this, and I'm getting older, so I needed to say it.
Say it.
When we talk about personal responsibility, so yes, there was this increase in fame, but there might not have been any increase in wisdom or understanding or like maturity.
Right.
So yes, there was this increase in platform, and they were pushed up, and money and all of these things are thrown at you. But then when it comes down to how you really operate and make sense out of it, and the choices you make, where was that development, right? So you've developed in huge, your name is big and it's in lights. But if you don't have anything that backs that from a mature level, a maturity perspective, then you get what you get, right? You still get the same mentality, just with more money.
And that's where we used to see a lot of stupid people out there, right? But I think that's nobody is, maturity or not, nobody is equipped for celebrity. I don't think anybody is, because you always have, right? Like, I mean, we know that a lot of athletes, right? A lot of athletes end up broke after their careers. A lot of celebrities end up broke after their careers. Right. Like, because you just don't have that. Like, no one's ready for that influx in general. But even still, like, there's a level of understanding that you just will never have when it comes to celebrity, because there's a lot that comes with it. Yeah. Right. And so, like, it is like,
there's some nuances you won't even know until they show up.
For sure. And those are those things that it is like, for me sitting here, we can talk about this instance, right, and say, well, he should have done this, he should have done that, he should have done whatever. And I'm not in his shoes, and I don't know. And I don't know how many people are around him telling him this, that, or the other. Right. I don't know who's puppeteering the whole show, and there's certain things he can't say, this, say that, say things that are ongoing, lawsuits pending, whatever. There's a lot of stuff that you can and can't do, and I get that. And it is hard because you are always under a critical eye, right? Because people, as much as people love you, they love it when you fuck up.
Yeah, right. They're waiting for the fall.
They're waiting for the fall, because that's what people love the most, is being able to see you fall and to see you fail.
So they'll praise you on the way up. They'll push you as high as they can, stretched hands.
Yes, but then, all the way.
Then when you fall,
love it.
Everybody,
and nobody's there.
Nobody's there.
Nobody's there. They like to watch a train wreck.
Yeah.
Which I can get sidetracked on that, or I can get. Here's a terrible joke. I can get derailed on that topic, but the thing on the backside of that too, because this popped in my head, and we'll circle back to Travis Scott about personal responsibility. Another one that pisses me off, and that was in the topics, and was also actually on a good. I mean, I'd saw it before, but it was also on a good episode of Hard Pass with Jacques Slade. I know I brought him up before, but shout out to him. Kanye West Like Kanye West was recently out at an event wearing some Nike Foamposites, right? And that was a sense of like personal responsibility, but also it pisses me off because if everybody out there, I mean, anybody knows Kanye West, he has a long-term contract with Adidas. But yet he does whatever the fuck he wants to do. And people praise him for this. And it's like, oh, he's this creative genius. Oh, he's this whatever. First of all, if anybody's seen the new Yeezys that are about to come out, all the different variations, they're ugly as shit. Like, at what point do you're pushing the cutting edge? So like, you're just making up shit at this point, and it don't look good. But the thing about it is, when you look at other, like, I don't know if you remember, like back when like Harden was playing for the Rockets, and he originally signed to Adidas for whatever that bajillion dollars, whatever it was, contract, and he had just signed with them, and he had went out somewhere and was wearing a pair of Nikes, and the backlash that he got from that, and we're gonna drop your contract, and this and that and the other, like, all these people are held accountable, because when you're signing on that dotted line, you have a responsibility. But this jackass is purposely doing shit because don't fuck with my creative whatever. I'm yay, I can do that. Like, personal responsibility, bro. Like, you signed that dotted line. Excuse me. And the fact that nobody says anything to him also just pisses me off, because, like, yeah, he is a creative person. I personally like his earlier music than his latter music. I personally like his earlier design than his latter design, whatever. That's just me personally. But you have a responsibility to this company that is paying you. I mean, let's be real. When's the last time Kanye had decent record sales or was out on a good tour or any of that stuff? Like, your ability to buy this mega ranch and travel the world and do your Sunday service and create all this bullshit came from somebody giving you the opportunity,
right,
and saying this is your obligation. And now that you've reached this level of fame, you're like, fuck you, I'm gonna do what I want, and nobody questions that.
I mean, it seems like, man, so, and even if we can take it from the big level down to the smaller level in a second, but it seems like you create an island, right? Where this is my government and this is how I'm going to operate, right?
Yes.
And I've created this dynamic, and because I'm at this status, I'm at this level, now I can create what I want, right? And people are going to authenticate it because they're going to pay for it. They're going to come to it. They're going to, shout it out, and you get this support for it just because they did it.
Yeah.
And so yes, there has to be, at some point, you would think that you would respond in a way knowing that you are controlling, a group of people in such a way. I think there has to be something there that convicts you, or that draws you back and says, you know what, I have a responsibility here to do better, to be better, to do something that is not going to be detrimental, but that is going to be,
right.
That push you to the next level. But everybody doesn't have that mentality, man. Everybody's not on that.
I don't know.
Not opening that book to read that chapter, right?
Yeah, I don't know, man. And I get, again, like, we're here doing the,
So let's take us, right?
Yes.
Even here on the podcast, we have a personal responsibility to be authentic, right?
Yes.
You're gonna be you, I'm gonna be me, right?
100%.
And we're going to be authentic on the podcast, hoping that we can, influence some type of conversation or some type of movement in a positive direction.
Right.
If we get feedback that says, hey, this, that, or the third, it's our personal responsibility to take that feedback and say, okay, is there something we need to So you out there on the island, see that?
I'm out there, no, but you're right though. But then, and that's what always makes me think. And I've always wondered, even before the podcast, is like, for me, already with all the struggles that I have in my life, like how would I respond to celebrity, right? Like if we're on this podcast and it gets to a point where it's extremely successful, right?
Yep.
Like how do we respond to that? Because at that point, it's not this setup anymore.
Yeah.
It's not do now. There's
it's not this homegrown
this, you know. And how do you respond to that? You know, and then you get put into a box, right? And that's the thing too, right? Where at the end of the day, and I think that a lot of people forget, and they sometimes, and now I'm going to go on the side of celebrity, right?
Okay.
Is that a lot of people forget that these people at the end of the day are just people.
They're still people.
And we don't know their demons. We don't know how they feel about themselves. We don't know whatever. But what we do is that we frame them in this box. And we say, this is so-and-so, and everything that we know about so-and-so is what we see, and we think we know everything about so-and-so
because of what they presented on social media.
What is on there, right?
Yeah.
You don't know that so-and-so contemplates wanting to kill themselves every night. You don't know so-and-so has, you know, this fear about themselves or whatever the situation is. And there is a pressure on them, and it can push people to crack because, excuse me, you have to, or you believe that this is who they are all the time. And so now there's an obligation, a personal obligation of that celebrity to have to always be in every aspect of life. You have to be this person, right? I am a certain way in certain situations, like if it's a work situation or whatever, but shit, man, like to have to maintain being on all the time, you get to a point where you will just be like, fuck it, like I'm, you know, and then it's like, oh, now he's lost his mind, or oh, he's going crazy, or she's doing this or whatever. But like, you just get tired, you know, you get tired.
Yeah.
And what do? You know, I don't.
So okay. All right. We're talking about personal responsibility. How do we, because you and I didn't get into this to be just these local, you know, podcasters, right? There's something greater in this that we're anticipating, you know, in all of the things that we're doing. There's something greater in those, right?
For sure.
And so I guess the conversation that we may even need to go towards is, how do we prepare now for what we feel like we're going to inevitably be, right? How do we deal with, what is it that we can do now to help us in our level of personal responsibility to come back to the table and say, okay, you know, maybe we need to rethink that, or maybe we're getting too far out here, or maybe we've allowed the outside influence to take us into a direction that we didn't want to go. And, you know, do we step back from the cash because that's what's drawing us, or that's what's pulling us there, right?
Yeah. And but that's the real question, right? That's the real aspect of it all. And it's unfortunate that usually it all boils down to money. Right. It always boils down.
I mean,
to
so you have money produces power, right? And then you have all of this fame and notoriety and all of those things that
everything
come with
that
it,
goes
right?
with it. Yeah. You know, but that's a real question, is what do you do? You know, but that also applies, like, since we're talking about that, like that also applies to the most basic of human being when it comes to their own action. Like we need to, right now we're talking about a lot of celebrity, and not everybody can relate with that. I can't relate with that. Right. But on the most basic functions, you know, on your day-to-day life, how many people, you know, we can get into relationships because that's a whole, people don't accept personal responsibility in relationships. I mean, I know I haven't in the past, for sure, 100%. That's a whole nother world. But like, even something as basic as, excuse me, like your job, like even on your job, because you need the money, you need the paycheck, you need whatever. There's a lot of things that people will sacrifice for the sake of, you know, I need to do this or I need to do whatever. And we do need to ask ourselves, you know, to what level, how far, or whatever the situation is, you know, and accept a lot of responsibility for our actions. If you have a shitty home life because you're always stressed out from work, but you're the one that chose that job, you're the one that took that career.
We made choices.
Yeah, you made choices. Like, it's not fair to punish everybody around you for your mistakes. You know, if you have your own issues and you're in relationships and whatever else, it's not fair to take your problems out. Like, recognizing your problems, the difference between your problems and our problems, their problems, whatever the situation is. You know, if you're a parent, whatever, I don't know, you know, whatever, and you make, right, your kid is not responsible for your shitty day.
Yeah, right. And for you to unfold, man, you know, I've been to counseling, right? We've been, you know, truth be told, I've been to counseling, been to marital counseling, all of those kind of things. One of the counselors told us in marital counseling is there has to be a problem tree, you know, and so when you're driving up to the house, you have to find a tree or find something and hang everything about your day on that tree. So before you walk into the door, you have to consciously decide that what happened to me today is not what's happening to me inside this home.
Right.
Because actually probably 99% of it had nothing to do with anybody inside here. Right. And so if I take it inside, now it becomes this bigger thing that it never was, because I didn't take the personal responsibility to cast it off before I came into the house, right?
Yes.
And so when we go down to the smaller details of it all, I think it's in our day-to-day movements, man, that we have to look and say, where in it can I be better, right? When I got fired, right? I looked at everything else. I was like, they're trying to do this, trying to do that. I went to the EEOC. I went to, you know, all of these different things, trying to identify, justify for myself because they did this to me, right? When in actuality, I created the dynamic for them to give them evidence to fire me.
Right.
When all was said and done. It took me a long time to get to that point though. Right? For me to take the personal responsibility and say, okay, Aaron, you contributed. Just like the whole Travis Scott thing. I was just hitting the balloon. No, it's not mine. You take it. Right. And so I had to look at it and say, okay, you didn't handle your business in a way that made you blameless. Right? You did it almost in a reckless place because you had gotten to the point at that job where you felt like you were solid, you were good. You know, you could move and operate in a certain way and you were gonna be okay. Well, they came back and bit me, right? So I had to take personal responsibility in that moment, which was hard to do because I wanted everybody else to pay for it. I had to take personal responsibility in that moment and say, okay, you know, these are the things you need to do moving forward so that this situation doesn't come up again.
For sure.
So that this doesn't happen again.
No, but I mean, but that's what it boils down to. And it's not just you. It's all of us. Like, it is very, very difficult to look at oneself. Like, most people, when it comes down to it, they always see someone else's mistakes over their own.
Yeah.
And usually if it's the people that do see their mistakes, it's the ones that are overly seeing them and beat themselves up a lot more than they should. But you know, it's very very hard to be like, I was wrong.
Right.
I can't even barely
Why
get that out.
Why is that so hard?
I could almost choked up just saying it. Like, it's me wrong. Like, no, it doesn't matter. But for me, like, that is a very difficult thing. And
what about us does that? I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. What's
the switch?
I'm still in a position of trying to figure that out. And even the most, I would say, I mean, I don't know if it's a matter of like an ancestral, is that even a word? Ancestor, that's some college shit. I don't know what I'm talking about. DNA, right? DNA type wiring where it's like a self-preservation thing.
I got you. Yeah.
You know,
right.
like where you're just trying to protect yourself or whatever, because like you're always looking for a safe situation, or you know, if something happened where you were wronged and why you were wronged, and like all these types of things, like to preserve yourself or to justify
like it's your defense
right,
mechanism.
Or, whatever it is, you know, if that's the fight, right? The flight or fight, I can't speak, but I don't know if it's that or whatever, you know, and for me, like I still struggle a lot. Like I'm getting better at saying like, this is my responsibility in it. But now like where I struggle is, and it's wrong of me to point out, like I point out, I still shift, like I'll say, okay, well, this is like, whatever the situation is, like, you're right, I fucked this up, but you're also not accepting, right? But you're also not accepting whatever, because like, if I am accepting it, I want you to accept it. Yeah.
Right? Because I was vulnerable enough.
Yes.
To step out here
and say and whatever. Admit it. Yes.
And you need to be vulnerable enough, because I was, to do the exact same thing.
And that's still wrong.
And that sucks. Because 99% of the time, nobody else is there when you're there.
No, they're not. That is worse. And it's terrible. It's a terrible situation to be in, right? And then you're just like, what the fuck? And then you get mad. But it is like, it is very, very difficult. Or people that I've seen, like, I've talked to people and they say, oh, well, this person did this and this person did that and this person did this to me, and yeah, I could have handled this better. I could have like there's a very tiny fraction of personal responsibility in it. Like you say just enough to make it seem like you tried, and then you're going to justify it. Like you're going to justify, you know, whatever else. Yep. I don't know.
I wonder how our lives would be, how much different they would be if everybody came to the table initially with their part of the situation. I know this is the perfect world, right? But what if we both came to the table and said, okay, this is where I screwed up.
Right.
And okay, this is where I screwed up. Right. This is why this contributed to that, without trying to justify or make that other person's responsibility bigger than mine.
Yeah, I don't know. It would be amazing.
That would be amazing, right?
But then on the backside of it, and this is where, because I've wondered something like that though too. But then I also wonder, like, at what point do, like, where's the line of reality?
Yeah, I got
right. Because it's one of those situations. And this is the most simplest, grossest, basic explanation of what I'm trying to say. But right, you have the argument of, is the sky blue? Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. If someone has always been taught that the sky is green, mm-hmm. and that's what they know, and that's what they believe, and mm-hmm. that's how they were brought up, like mm-hmm. that is their truth. Mm. It doesn't matter. And who's to say
you're not gonna uproot that?
You can't I mean, maybe eventually one day they'll be like, you know what, I was wrong. But maybe they never will.
Maybe never will.
But you can't change that. And even if 99 of 100 people know the sky is blue, and that one person that was brought up with being the sky is green, like that is their truth. That is their reality, and they can't come to the table and say, mm-hmm. I fucked up in this, right? Like, and for me, that's always where it gets kind of weird, and it gets a little gray area, because when it comes to personal responsibility and accepting personal responsibility, there's also a level of knowledge that needs to be there. There's a level of understanding that needs to be there. Like, it's easy to be responsible for your actions, but if you full on believe your actions were justified or right,
or the right,
or whatever the reason that influenced those actions were there. Like, it's very hard. Like, maybe they would be responsible if they felt that they were wrong.
Gotcha.
You know, I don't know. And that's where it is hard, because if you have, like you say, those people come and they say, hey, this is where I fucked up. Another person says, this is where I fucked up. Like, excuse me, that is good, but who decides what the fuck up is? And even then, what may be a fuck up today is not a fuck up tomorrow. I don't know.
I mean, it's a huge, you know, ball of wax, right? It's all kind of mashed in there together. And like you said, I mean, what you just said here really just kind of brings it back into perspective that there's no clear way of doing it, right? I think everybody's going to have to just make a concerted effort, even if, because at some point you have to allow the guy who believes the world to be, the sky to be green, to be okay with that, because it doesn't change your life, right? It doesn't affect you that the sky is green. But sometimes we'll jump on that and we'll harp on that, and every time you meet him, no, the sky is blue.
Yeah.
You know, and there's some things like that just, who cares?
Don't matter.
It doesn't matter. But we just want to be right? We just want to be, you know.
Yeah.
I'm still, okay, and I'll tell you the story. I'm still wearing my mask, right? I'm still wearing my mask. This lady walked up to me in the store and was like, why do you have the mask on? And I had time, all right? Because normally I'm moving and I'm, you know, and I was just like, whatever. But I felt that there was a little bit of response to respond. I said, as long as, and I'm sarcastic, y'all, so you may not have heard it much on the show, but I have a degree in it, so let's, you know.
Yes.
I said, as long as there are individuals that have your breath, I will continue to wear my mask. I said it has nothing to do with COVID. And she, like, her eyes got so big. And I felt bad afterwards. Initially, you know, I didn't apologize. I didn't, you know, but why do you care? Leave me alone.
Exactly. Let it be.
Let it be. You don't want one, you don't want to wear one, fine. I might keep mine on for the rest of my life, just so I don't have to deal with the breath.
Yes.
And just so you don't see my facial expressions behind this mask, because I can hide it now. You know, I can hide all my expressions now without you having to see what's going on.
Any of that. Yes. Yeah. Man.
So, you know, just a little off.
Little
story, but
no, I think that's good. I like it. I don't know, man. Gray area.
Yeah.
We went all over the place, but you know, I don't know.
But we still talked about personal responsibility.
Responsibility. I think that we should just work a little more towards that every day. At the end of the day, let's just be a little bit better today than we were yesterday.
Yeah.
Let's try to be a little more caring, a little more compassionate, a little more loving, a little more understanding. And that's really what it boils down to, is understanding. Even if you're right, try to understand the other person's side, because there's something there that you may not see. Yeah. I think that's what you said earlier. You know, the fact, you know, this person has been told that the sky was green from birth, right? And we may not understand the root of why they believe the sky is green, right? And so for us to keep harping at it without trying to identify where the root of it comes from, you know, then we're going to continue to frustrate the situation. And there's not going to be any solution in that. So that's part of our personal responsibility. That if we really want to know, if we really want to change, then we have to put in the work to try to figure the thing out. Exactly. I love it. Let's leave it there. Personal responsibility. Be better use. Peace. Yeah. I'm ready to play now. Put me in the game now. I came here to prove it. I'm ready to do it. I can't be afraid.